Justin Grinnell's here, everybody, and love having Justin in because we like to talk about keeping people healthy, giving you good ideas from the pros, from the subject matter expert. And Justin's our local guy, he's a friend. I've known him for a long, long, long time, and we've been pals forever. And he's a Spartan. First bullet that we're going to touch on that we'll start with. Justin sent over for me. Fitness focus for consumers. Strength training leads the way. There's so much happening in the strength training industry. There's so many books that are coming out influencing the gym industry. Justin, would you expand on that, please? We probably won't be able to cover this whole thing in the rest of this segment, but we'll carry this through. Go ahead. Please take that one on. That was a really good point. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. So I brought that up because, you, of course, have known, and many of us have known that, strength training is a pivotal part of fitness along with, many other qualities. But, let's just talk about the fitness industry. Really when I remember when I started my boot camps, the MAC, in like 2005, you could see this big wave of cardio, metcon, metabolic type, places that were going to pop up, boot camp style things like F45, Orange Theory, Base Camp, all those type of, training, philosophies or training methods in boutiques, because, people leave hot, they leave sweaty, they leave out of breath. And it's like, wow, I really, got my butt kicked and this is great, which it is great. Nothing wrong with that at all. So many places opened up like that. Some, succeeded, some failed. And, the HIT class. So I think if the consumers know if I say HIT, high intensity interval training, which, has its place. And you're seeing that start to fade a little bit, at least in the industry, and also what the consumer is asking for. Now it's still there. It's still a large part. They're going to be there. People still love it. People still love that burn, that sweat, that feel that they get when they leave that. But what the consumer is really seeing and really, looking at, as your whole, the refinement zone boomers category is, they're like, wow, I need to get stronger. I need to, my doctor says I have osteopenia. I need to build some bone. Well, I need weight bearing things. I need to build muscle tissue, that type of thing. And then also the younger population, what you're seeing is, lifting weights is really cool. That when I was, started working out, no one that was a female was really lifting weights. And now it's the cool thing to do in high school, junior high. They know they do it for strength conditioning now. Just about every sport does strength conditioning, as opposed to 20, 30 years ago, it's just the football team and maybe another team. And so the consumer's asking for more strength-based. So you're going to see more strength-based things come out in the boutique area. And also, Planet Fitness is really revving up a strength-based, kind of program. Crunch Fitness they already have theirs. You're also seeing Orange Theory really bring in more strength into their protocols. Even F45 is doing more strength things. I mean, I could go on with the different, chains and all that, but you're seeing that shift. There's another really good one you can look out for that we've looked at. Metabolic is a great one, made by two hockey guys. Really, really great franchise, strength based. You're going to see that keep popping up, just like anything, Tom, as you've seen. Fitness is cyclical. Nutrition, it kind of, things kind of come and go. They're hot, they're not, they're right, they're wrong, based on science or the consumer. But that's where it's going, and you're going to see strength is going to be the number one thing that the consumer will look for.
All right, Jay, let's go back to finish that thread of what you were talking about with strength training. Strength training leads us into your second point. If you want to finish that thread a little bit, and then, the second point is dealing with weight loss drugs. So they kind of married these together really nicely, but finish the thread on what you were talking about with that, and then weave in that the easy way, I mean, the new way for the pharmaceutical industry to make $1 billion. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, so kind of going back on the strength training thing, and because it's going into weight loss, right? Is in the consumer's mind, which it makes a lot of sense. If you go to a HIIT class and you are going really hard and your heart rate's up all the time and you're breathing and heavy and burning calories, you think, oh, I'm gonna get results. Well, what I like to tell people is when you think of strength training is going to help build muscle and bone, and it's going to have the biggest effect on your body composition, right? Whereas cardiovascular training, or we can throw HIIT training, whatever, we're thinking about, the heart, the lungs, the vascular system, okay? And so cardiovascular exercise isn't necessarily going to be the best weight loss tool. I mean, exercise in general, because there's so many things that cause weight loss, but you have to think that you really just need both. And that HIIT training necessarily isn't the best cardio training for everybody, because you really want to get into this zone of cardio where you're building the heart in an eccentric and a concentric contraction. Now, when you're your heart is 90-95% max heart rate, it's fluttering, so it's not going to do that. So you need a little bit of that, and I think that the HIIT training should be more heart rate based, not I'm just going to go as hard as I can based, so you can really see if you're making progress. And then also going back to some of that just old school steady state cardio, that's going to be great, especially as you age, for recovery on an off day. So I hope the strength training push can continue to shift people's mindset that cardio doesn't equal weight loss, but it is very important for health and longevity and so forth. And another thing that's been debunked a lot, but still out there is, I don't want to lift weights. I want to get too bulky and that type of thing. So, we know that's not true, but still out there. And so I think that as the strength training becomes even more and more what the consumer wants, they're gonna learn that stuff.
The weight loss drugs that are coming, that I want to be careful with what I say here because I don't want to discourage people, because everybody needs, if you're been sedentary for a long time and you are just feeling like I don't fit in, I don't want to do this, I need something to get me started. If your doctor prescribes it and they think it's going to help your health, great. I mean, I'm totally down with it. 100%. But you've got to, it's just that can't be the factor that drives you. What you have to do is you got to think about the whole package. And so, Justin, please comment on that. I like this, the influence on the industry, how that's going to affect people, and how are your trainers handling all this? What's the scuttle with all your pros?
Yeah, so we still, I think there's still information that needs to be learned, and there needs to be it needs to be out longer and see what happens with people, how it affects them. But it's a big business. It's big business, and so that's always going to get people's eyes. Pharmaceutical companies, a ton of money, and it's attractive. For someone that really struggles with weight, they think about food all the time. They just can't, figure out, how they can lose weight and be healthier, etc. It's going to be very attractive. And, in some cases, like you said, hey, if the doctor thinks it's better for you or it's going to help you, then, hey, just go underneath that doctor's supervision. Because I'm not going to tell anybody to take it or not take it, because that's not my place. However, we just need to make sure we get people to think more and ask better questions and understand that, it's not really going to fix much. Because what can happen, from what I know, is you take a drug that really blunts your hunger, right? Well, you're not going to eat, and you're going to lose weight. There's no doubt about it. But unfortunately, what happens, and we have a friend that has a clinic, and they do mostly like skin stuff, but they do the semaglutide and stuff like that. Is people, are basically get malnourished, right? They don't get enough minerals, they don't get enough fatty acids, they don't eat. And so other things can happen. So such as, brittle hair, poor skin, low energy, frailty, whatever it is. Not to mention all the other, every drug has its side effects. This one, I have a couple of GI docs. I know they see gallstones, acid reflux, whatever. There's going to be some problems. And if you're going to do it, you've got to make sure you're talking to the right medical professional. Because my fear is that people will take it, they won't eat, which they will lose weight. They won't necessarily change any habits. And then let's just say they go off it or don't want to take it, or they have some drastic side effects. They've got to have a better plan. And that's the problem with this drug, is there's not a plan with it from people. And if you're just going to take it and not change anything in your life, you're going to have some problems, I'm assuming, because it's just